In the back.
Jerry Ramsey with the State News. This is for you, Marcus. What do you remember from playing Mark Williams last year, and what kind of challenges does he present as a athletic big?
He's a good player, really big, shot blocker, something like me. But I'm just looking forward to the matchup. I can't really give you details on what happened last year. It's not really flowing through my mind right now. But I'm just looking forward to the matchup, and then coming out with a win.
Chris Solari, Detroit Free Press. This is for both Gabe and Joey. The last 3 years you guys have played Duke, and really the last 6 years. How much does having that knowledge help with a scouting report on short prep for you guys?
It's very good because the years that I've been here, they have been running the same stuff. It's a lot of plays that they got, so we have to lock in and focus on just the things that they do mentally, and it's going to be a physical game too, so we just got to be ready to compete.
Like Gabe said, they have a similar play style each year, not changing that much. The one thing that changes a little bit is their roster. Sometimes they have one-and-done guys, so that might change from year to year. But other than that, they're running similar stuff.
Next question.
Matt Charbonneau, Detroit News. This is for both Max and Gabe related, but you guys in particular, the defensive game plan in this, when you go from Davidson to a team like this, how much does that change? How much work do you guys put in on adjusting to that defensively in this matchup?
It's definitely different. Davidson and Duke are almost completely different teams, where Davidson has a lot more shooters compared to Duke. So our defensive game plan is going to change a pretty big amount, transitioning from game to game. So we're just working on that, continuously to make sure that our defense is on par.
Next question.
I want to ask you about Paolo when you watch him on tape. What stands out and where's the challenge in defending a guy like that?
Yeah, he looks like a really good player. There's a reason he's probably going to be a top 5 draft pick. He's got great size, able to shoot, is able to get to the rim. So we're going to need a lot of guys to help defend him. As coach always says, have 6 eyes on him, build that wall a little bit, and it's going to be a team effort for sure.
Questions right here in the plaid.
Stephen Brooks, 24/7 Sports. This is for Gabe and Marcus. I'm wondering if you guys could think back to your freshman year and just sort of how Duke was perceived at that point. This program had lost 7 in a row to Duke. I know you guys weren't there for that. Then you go beat them in the NCAA Tournament, and then you beat them again last year. Is the way you guys view Duke any different than you did all those years ago?
No. Like at the end of the day, it's just basketball. They was picked to be the national champs my freshman year, and we came in and won. So all it comes down to is just competing and just focusing on the game plan that coach got for us.
I agree with what Gabe said. Just at the end of the day, it comes down to who's competing the hardest and who's leaving it all out there. So
In the middle.
Jack Ebling, the drive and press pass. This is for Max. You have as many NCAA tournament wins as Duke's juniors, but a lot of guys, when they play them, play the name on the front of the jersey. How do you get past that?
Duke is Duke. Duke's a great team. They're a storied program. I'm just going in looking to play as hard as I can and do what I can as a team or as an individual to make sure that our team wins. We have a chance to go to the Sweet 16. And for me, that's going to be a great experience if we can do that. And so I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure that happens.
Michael.
Hi, Michael Rothstein, ESPN. This is really for any of you. This is Coach K's last season. Has any of you thought of, if you win tomorrow night, that you're ending Mike Krzyzewski's coaching career? Does that get thought of at all?
That's definitely a part of what goes into our head, but that's not the focus. The focus is to come out and do what we need to do to get the win. But that's just that's the storyline that's going on with the game right now. We're not really focusing on that. We're focusing on us.
David.
David Hale with ESPN. My colleague stole my question a bit, but I will maybe tweak it just a tad. Duke's players had kind of talked about the challenge of sort of living under the cloud of everything that they've done this season is the last time Coach K is doing that. The narrative about this game is clearly about the 2 head coaches and the long history that they have. Does that create a burden for you? Do you buy into the storylines like that, or do you have to go out and just say it's about the 10 guys that are on the court at any given time?
I'd say that I think we're all pretty focused on just winning the game. I don't think any of us are really burdened by anything. Like you said, the Duke guys may feel burdened that it's Coach K's last whatever they do. But for us, we're just going out there to win the game. This is going to be a big game. It's a huge story. But at the end of the day, we're going to do what we can to make sure that we get to a Sweet 16.
Right here.
Nick Mandis, WLNS in Lansing. When you guys came out last night for warm-ups, obviously the Duke fans remember the last time that you guys played against them in 2019, and you guys were booed relentlessly as you guys came out into the floor. What was it like to get that reception from the Duke fans, and what's it like for you guys knowing you have this rivalry in this tournament?
I would say it's just fuel to the fire. When we came out, I heard it myself personally. When you coming out to Bulls and stuff like that, it just fuel to the fire to get a win and then move on. So we just ready. We're ready to play.
Right here in the middle.
Brendan Shabath, WDBM Sports. This question's for Gabe. Similar to the last one. Obviously, last night was a very pro-Davidson crowd, and there were a little bit of Duke fans there, too. It's expected that tomorrow is going to be very pro-Duke. How much of that, environment that you're going to go through is like a tangible part of the prep and getting ready for tomorrow's game?
I love it. I love being underdogs. I love when the crowd is booing us and they don't believe in us, because that's when we are at our best. So tomorrow we're just gonna block out the noise and compete at the end of the day.
Detroit Free Press.
Chris Solari, Detroit Free Press. This is for Gabe and Marcus. Kind of think back to that 2019 win over Duke. What was the feeling of getting that win versus maybe getting the win last year in Durham? Was there any difference that having already beat Duke once in your career, the second time you beat them, was there any difference between the two?
It was to go to the Final Four, and they had a #1 draft pick on their team.
Hey.
That answer it for you?
It's a great answer.
Not really. It's always a good thing to beat Duke, as Michigan State, and Duke's is always going to come out and compete with us. So the rivalry stands on.
Right here in the middle.
Another question for Gabe and Marcus. This is the older guys. What is sort of, as guys who've gone through it, what do you think is sort of the secret to Coach Izzo's success on the second day of a weekend like this? Somebody was mentioned earlier, his record is like 70-some win percentage, I think. As you guys go through it, just what is the key to that quick turnaround success, you think?
Just being mentally locked in. That's what Coach harps on each and every day. We have to be mentally locked in. Physicality, we're going to be ready, but mentally, that's where the game plan is at.
Just staying locked in mentally. To listen to the coaches. They're working so hard on the game plan. So just listening to them and going out and playing. That's our job.
Down here on the right.
Yeah, question for Max. Max, I know Duke was involved in your recruiting process. What do you remember about that, and kind of what did you learn about Duke when going through that process?
Yeah, like you said, they did recruit me when I was in high school. Obviously, it was a great process going through that whole process and having them recruit me. But at the end of the day, I chose Michigan State, and now that we're playing them, it feels good, sort of go up against them, team that recruited me. But I didn't choose them, so now I'm here playing for Michigan State. So I'm gonna give my all for Michigan State to beat Duke.
Right here.
Matt Sharman, Detroit News. This for AJ. Obviously, we've seen how you've played the last few games, and now you're going to go into a matchup with a guy like Wendell Moore, who's playing really well, experienced guy. What do you see in that matchup for you? What's the key for you to kind of keep going what we've been seeing the last few games, or last couple weeks, really?
The key to the matchup is just be the best version of me for my teammates. Not make this the last game for my seniors. Just give them my all. Do whatever it takes for me to win. So that's just really the key for my matchup.
Right here.
Jack Ebling, the drive and press pass. Joey, it was late when you got out of here last night, but after a game like the one you had, I'm sure Tom had a few things for you when you got back to the hotel, but how many text messages did you have? Do you have calls you had to return? Did you go to sleep? What did you do?
Yeah, it was late. And to be honest with you, I really just texted my family, saw them at the hotel, got back to a couple buddies, and it was ready to get to bed. So it was a little overwhelming, but yeah, we had to get some sleep.
In the middle.
Kellen Buddy with WILX in Lansing. For Max, this was your first experience for March Madness. Did it kind of live up to those expectations? As a kid, you dreaming of playing in this. Did that kind of live up to the hype for you?
Definitely. If I'm being honest, I was pretty nervous when I was going out there. I dream about this. I watched this as a kid, growing up every single tournament, every single year, watching it now and playing in it. So it definitely lives up to its hype for sure. I'm excited to be a part of it, that we won last night's game, and I'm going to be able to play another game.
Down low.
Brennan Shabath, WDBM Sports. This question's for anybody that wants to take the lead. Unrelated to Duke, sort of. I'm curious, on not a scouting perspective, but just a basketball fan, how much you guys are paying attention to the other games going on around the country, or are you guys just kind of locked into what you're on and not really focusing on any other games?
I'm watching a lot of other games, to be honest. I still like to keep that sort of, fan perspective, watching all the other games, seeing how other teams are doing. Obviously, eventually we might meet up with some of these teams that we're watching. So I still think it's okay for us to watch other games, have a little bit of fun with it, and just see, still have that March feeling.
Time for one more question.